Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Home Staging Talk Show Live. I'm Jenny Norris, your host. This is brought to you by the International Association of Home Staging Professionals. And today is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy to be with you. And we've got a great show today, an interesting show. Those of you that saw the promo, our guest today will be Madison Cordova, and she works for a company that does cleanups, unique cleanups, things that you've probably always wondered, like, who does that in real life? And so we're going to talk to her about, they call it crime scene cleanup. And it's not always crimes, but it's sometimes like houses are so disgusting, it's a crime type of thing. But it's also, they also deal with that other stuff too. And I met her at a vendor fair trade show and was just fascinated because I just watched the movie, The Cleaner with Samuel L. Jackson. And I'm like, no way, there's actually people who do this in real life. So I'm trying to turn my phone off, my volume here so it does not ring. There we go. Okay, so anyway, welcome everybody. As usual, I'm going to go ahead and give some announcements and updates before we get to our guest. And of course, first up here is our conference coming up in February 24th, 25th, and 26th in New Orleans. We're coming to the Big Easy. Those of you that are sitting on, the fence or waiting to get your tickets, don't wait because the prices go up incrementally. So people that register first get the best pricing and the best seats and perks and so forth. And those that wait, you don't get all those things. So if you know you're going to come, please register so that we know you're coming. And you can easily do that by going to ihasconexpo.com, which is ihasconexpo.com. And you can register if you want to come to the advanced stager training, which also follows the conference. It's going to be the 27th and 28th. So it's 2 days of an advanced workshop for stagers who have six-figure and above businesses. So if you're almost there, we'll let you in as well. But it's really a great time to collaborate with colleagues, to learn how people have overcome challenges that they're facing as they're growing their business and getting to those advanced levels. Our speakers will definitely touch on those topics at conference. We're going to have topics for advanced, intermediate, and newer stagers. However, sometimes delving into those really nitty-gritty issues, we're not able to do it in a general conference. And so that's why the advanced stager training was created. And this is our third or fourth conference where we are bringing people. It's a smaller group. It's an intensive, it's a workshop. It's not people speaking from stage or a platform. It's you interacting with your colleagues and sharing with us what you need help with, and then us providing solutions and so forth. And by us, I mean the people that are at the levels or have gone through what you've gone through. Plus, we'll have some of our keynote speakers that will be sharing additional information related to their background and topics and so forth. So when you register for the AST, you get $100 off because if you've already registered for the conference. So you can register for the conference first and then the AST. And there should be a code that you get to get that $100 off. So that's very exciting. And of course, with our conference, we always do an awards gala. So this year we are going to be doing the Mardi Gras Masquerade Ball. And Mardi Gras actually ends, I believe, the Wednesday prior to our Friday start. I thought it was the week before that. I'll check the dates on that. But anyhow, those of you that are looking to come in early, you might hit Mardi Gras, or you can hit Mardi Gras. Time that correctly and then be part of that big scene. But our conference starts on Friday. And so Sunday evening, we're going to wrap up our conference with a big party, a big celebration, a Mardi Gras Masquerade Ball. We'll give out awards to top staging companies and individuals. We're going to have a great dinner. We'll have music and dancing. So it's a great way to wrap up the conference. And of course, costumes are encouraged but not required. The theme is the greatest shows. If you want to come as one of those characters from the movie, we have people in the works getting costumes and stuff together for fun. You can do that, or you could just simply put on a Mardi Gras mask and beads. And of course, we'll have a lot of that there at the conference as well, just for fun that you'll have anyway. And of course, the headquarter hotel is the Sheraton right in the French Quarter. To get the best rates, you have to go through the Ihas ConExpo site and then select the hotel, because we have special rates we've negotiated with the hotel. If you go to them directly, you're not going to get the special rates. So make sure, hey, Jenny, welcome from England. Thanks for tuning in. So you want to make sure you're getting the special rates. So go through the site to get your hotel reservation. We have some rooms we blocked on the front end and on the back end, but the bulk of them will be the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. time frame. All right. So we are very excited for that. So again, don't wait to get your tickets. Come, everybody. It's going to be a wonderful event. We have vendors that'll be coming. That'll be exciting, which brings me to my next announcement. Mr. Joseph Hecker has joined Ihas as our Director of Ops. Those of you that know Joe, and I'm sure you've seen him, if you come to our conferences, I know you've seen him. He's been a staple at our events for the last few years, but I met him originally after he attended High Point Market and met a home stager who was waiting for a ride. And when he said, "Are you a designer?" And she said, "No, I'm just a home stager," he was like, "You're not just a home stager, you're and I can't say that on the air here, but I'll just do the initials, MFing home stager." And because he's like, own it, be proud of who you are. And so, from that genesis, he realized that the designers are giving away too much from the market. So you have to withhold some of that knowledge and information because that's your value, but also we be proud of who you are. So he started a live broadcast and then has built that to the live broadcast network. And he's very well connected in the design world. The show, he has a contract with one of the largest show producers for trade shows and so forth, where he does their media. So he says he has 23 companies that he owns and has started and sold 12 others. He's so creative, and I call him the connector, because that's truly what he's about. He wants to connect people for success. There isn't one person that he meets that he doesn't ask what they do and try to find a way to help them accomplish what they want to do. And that's just who Joe is. And so he has set up, like right now he's at Tech Alley in Denver. This is a thing where he brings speakers in and it's no charge for people to attend, and they can learn from experts from all sorts of backgrounds. And that was one of his brainchilds from here. He's also doing that in Las Vegas. He's working with city leaders and so forth. So he definitely gets out there, and he's all for entrepreneurs. He's all about success. And so that brings me to, why is he the Director of Ops for Ihas? I had originally asked him to help with the vendor program because he is so well connected in the design world. He comes from a lighting background, lighting design. In fact, if you've been to Las Vegas, to the Cosmopolitan Casino and Resort, that chandelier in the chandelier bar, that chandelier light fixture was the world's largest chandelier until about 2 years ago, when some other place overseas made a bigger one. But that was Joseph's installation. That was his design. That was his installation. So that's just one of many that he's done. And he's very humble. He doesn't talk about that a lot. So I'm his PR person. I'm promoting him or sharing that because I know that he didn't even put that in his bio that he shared. But I think that's really remarkable. And so again, he knows a lot of people in the design world and our vendors and going to market and so forth. He's been going to that for a long time. So getting connected with the vendors that we want to work with is key. So I asked him to be in that role. And then through various conversations, he has so many great ideas. He's so creative and really thinks out of the box. And so it led to the position as the Director of Ops. So in this role, and I'll have him on the show, he's traveling to High Point starting tomorrow. So I know he's wrapping up Tech Alley today, and then he'll be jumping on a plane. But he has really great ideas and plans for expanding the association, really growing it as a family, but to growing our association locally and really honing in on the chapters that serve our members on the local level, and finding ways to incentivize launching those, et cetera, redoing our websites, making it easier for people to access the courses and education that we offer and so forth. So I'm really, really happy to have him on the team, and I'm thankful for him as well. And because he really has a heart to serve other people, and I'm grateful for that. So welcome, Joseph, or Joe, whatever you want to call him. And then here we have an announcement here. This is Trainers for Staged Homes, which I'm also a part of. I just wanted to give a plug to Bridget, Tani, Orlando, Stacy, and Nikki, who are all Ihas members as well, and are now going to be educating other people about the staging industry, real estate agents and stagers. So I just want to say welcome to the new batch of trainers that you'll be seeing out there. And also they have courses developed for Ihas members on special niche services. And so you'll be seeing some of those getting launched as well. Joseph, in addition to what he's doing for the association, the vendors and so forth, we have a platform that he and I brainstorm on, but it's going to be specifically for educators in the industry, peripheral educators as well, who want to be able to get their education courses and so forth in to the eyeballs of the people in the industry. But we're having one platform for that. So that will be, it's called Hive, and you're going to learn more about that, HYVE, coming up. So we're looking forward to that. And of course, if you have a class that you teach and want to be part of that, you can simply message me. Hey, Tamika. Hi from Tampa. Hello. Thanks for checking in. If you guys are watching live and so forth, go ahead and make a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. Anyhow, so we will be announcing more about hive.pro as the website, but we're in development right now. But it will be a platform specifically for educators to be able to reach a broad audience. And the one thing about Joe is that he has a huge reach online because he started the live broadcast network and was actually one of the first people to really have a live show broadcasting through Facebook. And then through over time, it has adjusted for better quality and so forth. But he definitely is in the forefront of what it takes for media and video production and marketing, connecting with other people. So anyway, he's going to be a really great resource for all of us. So thank you, Joe, for agreeing to serve and being part of the team. We greatly appreciate it. We love you and look forward to seeing what's coming. All right. So I think that is it for all of my announcements. And I'm going to do something really fast here because some of my media did not upload. Oh, I know what happened. This, BeLive platform, when you upload pictures, multiple pictures at the same time, it puts them in a folder that you have to scroll through, and that's not what I wanted. So I'm going to quickly do these because I'm going to bring on our guest. I see Madison is in the waiting room. And I went to their website and pulled some pictures, actually the Instagram feed. Couldn't pull a lot of them because you guys can look at those on your own. Some of the posts are pretty interesting is the word I'll use. Okay, so let's see if I got all these in here. Okay, I did. All right, so with that, Madison, I'm going to go ahead and bring you on. It should count down for you. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good. So for people who are just tuning in or interested, tell people who you are and your background and about the company.
Yeah, so I'm Madison Cordova, and I'm with Spaudling Decon, and we are a company that handles all things hazardous and non-hazardous cleanup. We're kind of tagged all around as a crime scene cleanup company, so we help with a lot of biohazard, a lot of death things, but really our specific branch, we work with a ton of hoarders. We work with about 75% of what we work with is hoarders, and we started up in June of 2020, so mid-pandemic. It was very interesting to start up mid-pandemic, but we hit the ground running and we've been just growing and growing since then, and we absolutely love it.
So when I met you at the vendor fair, you said your dad owns this company?
That's right. Yep. My dad owns it. I'm in doing all the marketing and stuff like that. My sister does the accounting. My brother does the social media, and then we all do the jobs as well.
So they're actually doing the cleanup. I so admire what you guys do. And it was fascinating to me as I was sharing with the audience. I just watched that movie, which I think it came out like 18 years ago. So it's not a new movie, but I think it's called The Cleaner with Samuel L. Jackson. And so basically he's a person who has to go in and clean up murder scenes and things like that. And it's graphic, not overly gross like John Wick or something like that. But, it's gory. So then I thought, God, so it's a movie. And then I go to the vendor fair and there you are. I'm like, oh my God, this actually exists real. Because you think about it, like who does clean up that stuff? Like do people, you don't really think about it until I guess you need it. Right.
I know it. And we always tell people that we're happy that they called, but we hope that they don't ever have to call again.
Right. And so I went to your Instagram feed, and this is one of the things. What's the difference between a pack rat and a hoarder? This is interesting because even stagers, we'll walk into houses and you can see people have way too much stuff. So the definition, I liked what you guys had on your site. A pack rat is a person who obsessively collects or hoards things. They have a collection of unnecessary items, but they save things because they believe it's going to serve a useful purpose. Versus, pull this one up here, the hoarder. The hoarder is more of a mental issue. So it's unable to part with anything, no matter how unuseful it might be. This is the garbage, the trash, the papers, whatever. They're emotionally unable to cope with removal of any item. In fact, I've watched those shows. There was the show Hoarders. I don't even know if it's even still on, but they would clean out a person's property. And then within months, the person had another collection of, garbage bags and whatever they like to collect back in their place. And so they suffer from different disorders. And so that is a good definition of the difference. So a hoarder, it's more of a compulsion they can't control. And a pack rat, they probably can be rehabilitated or kind of taught not to keep everything. Is that your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And it unfortunately it is, when we work with hoarders, we do tend to, from time to time, have to go back and clean things up again. It's just kind of it's a thing that they're dealing with mentally, and it's something that we have to provide them with, some materials and maybe a therapist and somebody that can work with them on a more daily or, weekly kind of basis, and make sure that they're keeping things clean and not collecting that trash and collecting all the things that they don't need, or the things that they intend to sell on eBay, but just will never truly get to it.
So this picture, you could tell the student, do you recognize this picture?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I was reading the description. When you first look at it, you just think it's a bunch of garbage and bottles. But go ahead, Madison, and tell us what was in the bottles and the plastic bags.
Urine. Urine. It was just full of everything that you wouldn't want to have to pick up. I mean, all of the bottles were closed up again with urine in them, and it was extreme, very extreme.
Yeah. And then I think you said the bags, and when I read that the bags had the other, feces in it. So the person, exactly. I guess, that they couldn't get to their bathroom, they were locked out of the bathroom, and so they just they pooped and peed and
it's just got to go. It's got to go somewhere. So they, at least in this kind of scenario, things are contained. Sometimes it's just wherever they find themselves when they need to go.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine walking in and seeing that. And so these were just a couple of pictures I pulled, and then here's the after. So they'll clean everything. They clean out the spaces. And if the families, and, they might just take the person and place them in a place where they can, have care, so they're not living in that kind of conditions. If you go to their Instagram feed, Spaudling Decon, they even have, they have warnings if you so you're not going to see something totally gross if you're going through. But the stories, I mean, there was the one I was just reading, and I didn't want to show it here, but it was a woman living in a house with a bunch of dogs, decided, wasn't taking the dogs out to do their business. So she just had them do it in a bedroom. And you guys, it was like, the floor was layered with like 3 layers of dog turds. I mean, it's so disgusting. I can't imagine walking in. So when you first walk into that, I mean, do you have no sense of smell, or?
Usually it's pretty extreme. Yeah, we've kind of just gotten ourselves over, that initial shock. We just, we walk in, we know it's going to be bad. So we have to walk in and be prepared, and we have to really mask any emotions. We don't want them to feel uncomfortable. We don't want them to know that we know that it's gross. We just want them to feel comfortable and know that we are there to help and get things cleaned up. So really, when we walk in, we just have to pretend like we've never seen anything that's this clean.
And then, so you're dealing with the families and so forth. So when you're actually doing the work, how does that work? So obviously the homeowner is probably not there when you're actually doing the cleanup. And
it depends from time to time. Sometimes we prefer for the homeowner to be there if they're really attached to their stuff. That way we know for sure that we're not getting rid of anything that really means something to them. But then in some situations, it maybe it's going to be less sanitary as we start pulling things apart. There's going to be mold that's going to be revealed. Things are just going to get worse as we start taking stuff out of there. So in those situations, we really do like for them to be offsite and just kind of stay a little bit more safe while we're in there with full face masks and Tyvek suits and boots. And so it just totally depends on the different scenarios.
And even the way you guys dispose of it, I was reading on there's special bags you have to use for hazardous waste, because where does all that stuff go? Does it just go to the landfill, or what happens to it?
Yeah, so really anything that's not biohazard, which would be blood, human feces, anything like that, anything other than that can go straight to the landfill. Anything like blood, body matter, feces, human feces, stuff like that we all get rid of at a medical waste facility here in Aurora.
Wow. And so tell me, just to kind of share with the audience, what are some, to kind of put you on the spot here, but a couple of stories or things you'd like to share, like one of your, tell us a couple of stories about things that you've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, when somebody asks me what my craziest story is, there's one that pops to mind every single time. And it was a hoarding and OCD situation. So it was everything, all of the client's trash, feces, everything that he ever owned was still in his house, but it was very, very well organized. His poop was in Ziplocs and filed away in tubs. And then everything else, like his pop boxes, Oreo containers, stuff like that, was just very neatly piled. We could find where he put everything in the house, but it was stacked to the ceiling. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything quite like that. It was
so
the most organized hoard I've ever seen.
When people do that with their, stuff, is it because their toilet isn't working that they just save it, or is it because it's a mental thing?
It's a little bit of both. In this situation, he actually did have running plumbing, but he just preferred to keep it. He preferred to file it away and keep it. I don't know if he had intentions to do anything with it, but he just preferred to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I clients that I've been across, and I've only had a couple that were in the hoarder category. They weren't that bad. Mostly it was just overabundance of stuff.
Yeah.
And, the house may not be that clean, but I can't imagine walking into that. So how many people does it usually take to clean out a house like that? Is it a crew of like 8 or 10?
Yeah. So in those ones where we know that everything is pretty well soiled, it's gross, it's got to go. In those ones, we'll go in with a big crew so that we can just hurry, grab stuff, take it out, throw it on a roll off, and it's quick and painless. In a situation where it's, an older gal that's really connected to, say, all of her old education material, we will try to work more one-on-one with clients like that, just to make them a little more comfortable. Having a whole bunch of techs in there can make that very overwhelming, and it's really not a good use of their time. They don't know exactly what they want to get rid of yet. So it's better if we can just work on a one-on-one basis with those guys.
And then the products you use, I was reading, for example, a lot of us have dealt with people that smoke in their properties, and you walk in and the nicotine smell is bad, but then it also can discolor walls. And I saw a post where you guys cleaned a wall of nicotine and it didn't damage the paint. So, so you also will do cleanups like that as well. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we really, besides the extreme cases, the hoarding and the biohazard, we'll do all things cleanup. If, smoke and tobacco, stuff like that is really easy for us to get off of walls. We have a chemical that we basically would just spray on the walls. We leave it to foam for about 45 minutes, and then everything just wipes right off the wall. It makes it very minimal hours of labor, and plus it does an amazing job. Plus it's got a little bit of a smell, so it kind of helps to take that odor away as well.
That's cool. And then, so do you guys ever work with the police departments on the ones that are the crime, like the real crime scenes? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So we actually have gotten most of our biohazard calls from insurance companies. We're working to get more in with the sheriffs and police offices around town. But we have had, a couple of unattended death situations where the client passed away in his home, and we wasn't found for about 2 months. And so by the time we go in, there's not a lot left. It's all kind of seeped into the floor, and it's all kind of in the crawl space. It's just, there's not a whole lot left on the surface. So we get in and we cut the floor. We'll clean off HVAC if it's spilled onto there. Most of those calls have come from family members and from insurance calls these days.
How sad. Nobody knew he was missing for 2 months.
I know it. It's terrible. And then, we walk into situations like that and we're just like, man, we found a picture that a man had just printed of his grandson right before he passed away. And that stuff like that, it just breaks our hearts. So some of the situations are a little bit harder for us. But we get in there and we help clean it up and just try to help make that piece a little bit better.
And I know you have a child and you're married and so forth. So is your husband involved in the business at all, or what does he do?
Yeah, so he helps from time to time when we have those bigger jobs, when we need more technicians. Usually the jobs that we're doing don't require more than about 3 or 4 people. So we can pretty much use our family crew in those situations. But when we need to pull more employees, that's when my husband comes in, and my sister's fiance, he'll come in, and we grab all the people that we know, we like, and trust to get in there and help us.
There was that a precursor for dating. By the way, I deal with dead bodies and
Yeah,
poop
exactly.
and to be okay
I
with
got
that.
a heck of a strong stomach, I tell you.
I know. And hats off to you guys because I haven't thought about it a lot, but sometimes you wonder, like, when somebody dies in a house or is killed or what have you, whatever the circumstances are. Because there was actually a client it was an investor client of mine that actually went to go look at a property here in Colorado, and it was a property that had a crime that had been committed, and they hadn't cleaned it up. And these people were going to look at the property to purchase it, and they were like ran around, and it was a horrible crime that happened there. They just turned around like, oh no, I'm not going to buy this place. So
Yeah.
when it comes to real estate, why on earth would they have left it that way? Number one. Number two, I think on one of your posts, it was if you knew that somebody died in a property, would you buy it? And I believe I used to have to be disclosed. I think now that they might have changed the rules in some states, but nobody wants to walk into that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And they're very expensive cleanups too. Biohazard takes a lot of training, very extensive training, plus just disposing of biohazard pieces is really expensive too. So I would, a lot of those times, people don't want to pay for that kind of cleanup, and it is hard. That's when you'll walk in and see it unexpectedly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that'd be horrifying for a lot of people. I only know of one stager, Callie Waterhouse. She was out of Arizona, but she said she went to go stage a property. And anyway, they couldn't find the owner. And I guess he'd gone to the bathroom and had locked the door, but he had passed away in there. And so, the days had gone by. And so she finally was like, we need to open this door. And they found him. And she was actually a trauma person for kids too. So she was able to kind of helpful. But I'm like, I've never, and I don't want to, I really don't want to encounter anything like that in a property, but I know who I'd call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not a call you want to make, but at least there's somebody.
Yeah. Are you guys, is it a franchise, or are you, because it looks like you're located in multiple cities. So where are you?
It is a franchise. We are the only franchise in Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming. So we can cover any of those areas until anybody else moves in here. But it's a nationwide company. I think there's about 33 different locations throughout. Most of them are on the coast.
So on the West Coast or East Coast, both?
Both coasts. Yep. Both coasts. It's based out of Florida. The CEO and all of our corporate is in Florida, Tampa, Florida. And then everything else is outside of that, mostly in Georgia, all over in California. Nobody really central like us.
That's cool. So if you're watching and you're not in Colorado, there are people, their company exists in other places. So I typed the name in the notes. I don't see it popping up yet, but Spaulding, Spaulding, Decon, Decon is the company name. And again, go to their Instagram feed because you'll see posts from their different franchises too. So I saw some from Florida, obviously Colorado, and very interesting. And I don't know, how do you have to compartmentalize when you go home? And I'm sure you have to take 15 showers. I don't know. I just would feel like get that off. I know you're wearing the suits and stuff, but there's a point where it's like, do you ever feel like I can't get this off of me?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We actually just did one recently where this gal, she had 12 cats, and she let the cats use the downstairs floor as the litter box. And then we went in because they had a sewage backup onto all of that. So it was probably, I would say, close to 500 pounds of cat feces and human feces mixed in there. So that was one particular one where we smelled it for about 2 weeks.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's where my sister-in-law, she passed away a few years ago, but she had no sense of smell. And she was actually nurses, like a LVN, where she would go in and help with people who were terminally ill and so forth. But she didn't mind any of that stuff because she didn't have a sense of smell. So she could see it, but it didn't bother her because your sense of smell really, that to me triggers so much. Eyes can start watering, you get physically ill.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I think if I were recruiting for the job, I'd be like, if you don't have a sense of smell, come work for us.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing is when we wear a full face mask, you really can't smell a thing.
That's
so
good.
You're protected in that area.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you being on, and I appreciate what you do, because I certainly don't want to do it. And I'm happy now to have a contact, and anybody watching the show that are from Colorado, Wyoming, and What was the other one?
Mhm.
Nebraska, sorry.
Yep.
If you're watching and you need help with something like that, give Spaudling Decon a call, and anyone else in other areas, write their name down, because you never know. We think like, oh, I'm never going to need that. And then you come across some situation. And certainly we've definitely dealt with hoarders in the staging world. And professional organizers really deal with a lot of that too. That's kind of their area, and not to have to be the one to, because our team, it's not even to the extent of what you guys did, but my husband had a client where she had been in the hospital because she had diabetes and she had her foot amputated, and her family wasn't helping her at all. And she was we realized she was sort of a little out there, odd. But anyhow, when we went she'd had her floors redone. So the people that did that had taken all the furniture out of the house. So then we had to bring stuff back in, but also remove some items. And they found full adult diapers in a closet full of number 2. And like, why would that have been saved? And thank God it wasn't summertime. It had just turned, it was March when we first, but we took that stuff out. And we had gloves on and stuff like that, but I would have called you if I'd known that you existed. I would have been like, "Oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to call Madison. They can come over and deal with this stuff."
Yep. We see it all the time. We're used to it. We love it.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I appreciate you being on. I know that I will have you on again, I'm sure, because it's such an interesting company and business, and anything we can do to help, expand your reach and get you some more clients. The people that know those people, you now have a resource in your area. So thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It was so good to get to chat a little bit and talk a little bit about what we do.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. So and we'll be back with another show. And this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel and also homestagingtalk.com. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.